Well, hello. Yes, the last time that I hosted this podcast, I got a little bit of flack for not opening up the way that our commander-in-chief Liana Boris usually does in hello. So I made sure to remember this time. Hello. My name is Aman Adwin, and I am here today to talk about Drag Race All-Stars 9, Episode 4. Both Liana and Beth are out this week. They will be back next week, so no fears. We're all good over here on this front. They just, life be lifing. And so it's just going to be me and a very, very special guest that I'm super excited to talk to. You may know her from Survivor, as it were. Gabby Pascuzzi is here, baby. Yes! Talk about some drag.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I miss Liana and Beth also, but I'm really excited to chat with you, Aman.
Yes. Gabby and I have become fairly acquainted over the past few years, being in Puya's Goose Duck lobbies. So, everyone, if you are a viewer of those, you should feel right at home watching us talk some Drag Race. I'm super excited. I forget if it was Liana or Beth that told me that you were like a big fan of the show. And as soon as they said, they're like, "Oh, we got to get her like on our rotating guest panel." So I'm super excited to talk to you today. Like, I feel like I have you all to myself. I can interrogate you on everything that you love and know about Drag Race.
Gosh.
So
yeah,
there'll be a quiz at the end of the podcast.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. My cat joins us for anyone who's seeing the video. But
yes.
Yeah, well, I hope they didn't oversell my fandom. Well, I guess, I'll tell you all about my fandom, but I don't know if I'm the hugest fan. I've got huge shoes to fill, I feel like. But I can talk about entertaining TV, and I know what I like and I know what I don't like.
Okay. All right. Well, then elaborate on that. Like, what has your journey been like with Drag Race thus far? Like, when did you get into the show? Did you go back and watch past seasons? Do you have a favorite queen?
Yeah.
Give me the whole rundown.
Okay, well, I purposely undersold myself a bit so that now you'd be impressed, because I started watching around season 11, and it's because I lived in Denver, and at the time I was actually watching with like my straight girl roommate, and she watched Drag Race and I never did, and she was like, "There's a queen from Denver on it, blah blah blah." We were watching it. She had always watched it. I had never watched it. So since then I watched it pretty regularly, but I never went back and watched any of the old seasons until this past year, basically. So I'm making my way through. I've watched season 1, I've watched season 2, and then I'm going back. And then because
you watched
of
season
this
1, even I haven't survived season 1. Oh my gosh, good for you.
It was a lot. Like, it was in the background sometimes because that Vaseline lens is like, I'm like, what is going on here?
It's a struggle.
It's a little bit of a struggle. It's a way different show, which is really cool to watch. And actually, because of this season, I am going to shock all the fans, but I had never seen season 5. Which I know is so many people's favorite season. So I'm watching it now because I had never met Miss Rexy Andrews before this. So then I've seen a couple of the All-Stars. I remember I actually first did a Drag Race recap with RHAP with Mike Bloom and Liana when they were doing it. And it was for, I don't even remember which season it was for. And I was like, listen, I'm a new fan. I've only seen like 1 or 2 seasons. And then they would reference things and I'd be like, oh no, I have seen that season. And I have seen that season, but it was not so great season. So it's like, I guess I kind of forgot all these different seasons. So yeah, that's so I might not catch all the references, but
that's okay.
I am on Twitter. So funnily enough, watching season 5, I'm like over halfway through it now. I'm like, oh, I feel like I've seen all of these biggest moments on like clips already. So it's cool to see the whole season though.
Yeah, see, I feel like the way you feel about Drag Race a little bit is kind of like how I feel about Real Housewives of whatever city, because like, I feel like I see so many clips and so many like important, scenes from those shows that like, even if I don't really spend a lot of time watching a singular episode, which, I mean, you've watched a bunch of episodes of Drag Race.
No,
like,
I get it.
In the sense of like, I feel like I know the show because I feel like I've seen what I need to see. So like I totally understand that. Like you might not have seen like everything in like its finest detail, but like you have you're gleaning enough info to like get like the gist of like what's been going on. So I totally get that. Like I'm here for it. And that's kind of how I got into it too. Like I didn't start getting into Drag Race until I want to say like around season 8. Because that was 2016. That was my senior year of college, and that summer I didn't have much to do because I didn't get a job yet. So I was like, okay, like let me just spend some time just like goofing off, and I just watched Drag Race for the first time, and I was like, oh my god, how have I not been in this the entire time? So, and then I kind of just from there, it's just the rest is history. So I totally get it. I love that season 11 was your first season because Evie Oddly is one of my favorite winners. I love her to death. So
same.
That's amazing. Do you have a favorite queen? Is it Evie? Is it somebody else? Like what's going on with Gabby?
Oh my gosh. I don't have a favorite queen. It's hard to pick, I feel like, without knowing all of the history. Every season I get attached to them. Like I've never seen Shea Coulee's original season, but I loved her on All Stars. I loved Evie, and it was cool having that kind of like local connection. Although I never saw her. She wasn't performing in Denver at that time, and then I moved away from Denver when she was like going back and performing in Denver. So I've never seen her.
Just missed her.
Yeah, actually, I might get dragged for this, but Monet Exchange was at Buffalo Pride, where I live, yesterday, and I did not go. Because I feel a certain type of way about Buffalo's Pride event. Love Monet. I hope she had a blast. I'm sorry. It was raining. It's not in a convenient location. I went and ate tacos at a Mexican restaurant.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Tex-Mex. I don't blame you for that at all. Like, wait, so you're talking about this year? Buffalo already had their Pride like already? So, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was so early.
Weekend. Yeah, our like parade weekend is the first weekend in June, so it was all yesterday. It was really fun.
Okay.
And celebrated until it rained, and I was like, this is not in the spirit of Pride. So, yeah. But anyway, I get attached to different queens per season. I love Gottmik. Actually, I loved Mick on her first season, and I'm loving her on this season. So I usually like a more alt queen, a more comedy queen. I love the musical theater queens. Actually, I love like a Jinx, and I'm not well versed in like pageant world, so I can appreciate the artistry, but like they're not usually who's jumping out at me as my favorite queens. So I'll usually go for like the alt queens, the comedy queens, and then like just the kooky
slightly
queens.
off center. Yeah, no, I feel that. I totally know. I relate to that as well. Like I mean, our Pride weekend was also this week here in Philly as well. This past weekend, and shout out to Safira Cristal, the runner-up of season 16. She was like our headliner. I didn't get to see her. I have a part-time job that was literally right next to the main stage, but I couldn't get out to like see her. So like,
could you hear her?
I did. I heard her for like a good like hour and a half. I heard her voice the entire time. I was like, I just want to go out and watch, but I couldn't get away. But like, shout out to Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. I should have started off the podcast in it. Happy Pride, everyone. We're really happy to have a season of Drag Race to talk about during this lovely, lovely time of year. And I mean, I guess without further ado, let's try to get into this season. How have you been enjoying the season so far?
I've liked it. I think All Stars is always kind of funny because I'm like, where the critiques are all so positive.
I know.
Like, oh my god, you're the best thing that's ever graced this stage. And at times it feels like we're in the RuPaul extended cinematic universe of all the shows and all that. But like, it's good fun because the queens are so charismatic and so fun and so talented.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like All Stars, the more seasons that we get, the more I mean, I think you described it perfectly. It being like the extended universe of the RuPaul's Drag Race franchise. It's just I'm enjoying the season. I tend to be an optimist a lot more about All Stars than most of the fandom, or at least the ones that I see complaining online. So like I'm not one to like, dog on the season just because it's another All-Stars. In my mind, I'm like, I love to see beautiful queens. I like to see runways. I like to see comedy. I like to see RuPaul and the rest of the people acting a fool and being messy. I love all that stuff. So like I'm not going to complain about more Drag Race, but in the same breath, it does sometimes feel just a little like blah. And I feel like, and it's such a bad thing to say about charity because like, of course we want to give, like, make it rain on the charities, like give it all to them. But at the same time, it does sort of lower the stakes a little bit. And like, at first I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. And it still is a good idea. But I'm like, yeah, sometimes I feel like the wins are a little hollow. Like they're talking about a Drag Race Hall of Fame, whoever wins. But I'm like, this season feels different from the other All-Stars because the other ones were competing for themselves, and this one they're competing for something else. So it just feels a little off. But again, with that being said, I'm still very much enjoying the season, so I'm not going to complain too much. How do you feel about the charity aspect of this season?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's great because they've all chosen great organizations, right? No one's out there with like some charity where you're like, why did they pick that? So you're rooting for all of their charities in a sense. But it's like, okay, so there's 2 winners per episode, but then only one of them gets money. And I saw people online saying like, shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't it be like maybe both people get money and then only one person gets a badge? And it's like, I'm not quite sure like what we're going for. Is it like I'm trying to raise the most money possible, or wait, I'm trying to collect these badges? But I'm with you, Aman, though, where like I just enjoy entertaining TV. And so while sometimes like the critiques and stuff can be kind of boring, I just like watching talented people perform, and I like looking at the looks and everything. So I'm pretty positive on it as well.
I will say, I feel like the critiques are like not as like super in favor of the queens like when All-Star 7 All Winners was, because I mean we saw it from jump. Like there was like hardly a bad word said about any of the winners. They were all there the entire time. And then I forget which queen it was. I think it was Trinity that like spilled the beans about like how, oh no, there were bad critiques, they just didn't air those. So I'm assuming it's probably similar. Yeah, I'm assuming it's probably similar for this season as well, where like I feel like they're not polishing as much as they did in All-Star 7, because we do hear a few of them here and there, but like I largely agree with you in that like, yeah, it is sort of like, it is positive because I feel like, if it's a charitable season, you want for things to be, you want the levity to sort of, presume. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's like you're putting us in a bad spot. Like we can't talk shit about the charities, right? So like, what are you supposed to do? Like
we love it,
right? Like it's like, oh no, Vanjie shouldn't have won because screw ASPCA, screw the dogs, screw the cats, screw the lizards. Like we can't. So like, it makes it a little interesting critiquing everybody, but as we both said, like we're both still having fun with it. It is what it is, and I think. I'm wondering if like this is like an extension of like a larger dialogue with the queens and production about, if I'm coming back for All-Stars and I'm paying all this money to come back because Drag Race is super expensive now.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be there for 1 week. I don't want to be eliminated. So like, I want to be there the whole time. So I'm wondering, is this just going to become the norm for all All-Star seasons? Like not the charity aspect of it, but more so, they're going to be there the entire time, which I don't hate, but like, I think it's kind of a fair trade if you're expecting these queens to shell out so much money. It was recently revealed by Plastique herself a couple weeks ago that she spent over $250,000 on her packages this season. So it's just
my gosh, I had not heard that. That is an exorbitant amount of money. Huh?
Like some doctors don't even make that much.
yeah, that's, oh my gosh. Well, yeah, that's like I've been a little curious. Maybe you talked about it previously, but with like some of the looks that are clearly like they are couture, right? They're being like gifted, or they're, because these queens already have some level of fame, like Gottmik does. And I'm like, I enjoy it because it's really cool to see, just such just like amazing looks and everything. But I'm like, it just feels so different than not only a regular Drag Race season, but also just like drag in general. I'm like, what do you mean this is from like, what was it? I don't even remember what the label was now. I'm like, you said what? And
straight off the runway.
Straight off the runway. So but it's fun to watch. I guess it really is like it's giving like superhero and like they use that as their theme for the one challenge, but it's like these are the supermodel superheroes of Drag Race, the faces of the franchise, the faces of RuPaul's next Las Vegas show and this and that, and it's you just, I think you have to take it for what it is, whatever. It's streaming on Paramount Plus. I get to watch it for free, so I'm not, it's fine.
Oh my god, I forgot you guys get that stuff I need to get on one of these shows because I'm trying to get my Paramount Plus for free. Like, give me the whole
I don't even mean that. I mean I'm on Brandon Donlan's account.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, hold on.
That's why you want to go on a show I'm on, because you want a free Paramount Plus subscription.
Paramount Plus. Screw the money. Screw the $1 million. Give me the free Paramount.
They won't even give you that. They don't give you that at all. They don't even give us free buffs or anything from Survivor. They just send you. I think they gave us a code that was like Survivor 20 or something. It was like 20%.
Wow.
Mine is free because Brandon Donlan, ally to the LGBTQ community, gives me his Paramount Plus login.
Shout out to Brandon Donlan, fellow Philadelphian right now, which we've still never met in person here. We got to make that happen. But all right, well, enough rambling. Let's try to get into this episode. I knew this was going to be a good podcast because we're just able to just like go back and forth, and I just love it. We start off with this episode with George's reaction to being cut by one Gottmik last episode, and Gottmik explained it because of the reason she thought that it's probably a good chance that we're going to run into like maybe a dancing challenge soon. So you're a good dancer. I'm not the best dancer. So let me go ahead and be snip, snip, bitch. And, I don't think that, the prediction obviously was not correct, but I don't think that it was a bad prediction to have. I feel like I would very much be thinking about like, okay, so we've done design, we've done this, we've done that. It's probably this next. Let me go ahead and cut the bitch that I think is going to be best at that. So I think that Gottmik's decision was good. It just was the wrong one to make, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I would argue I don't even think it was that wrong of a decision, because I actually thought George's group slayed, which I'll get into later.
They did,
but it made sense, right? Because she had a badge. So I agree with you ultimately. I think like the decision made sense. Gotta cut that little thing.
Cut her off. Cut her off. Like, I was a big fan of George's when she was on season 14, and I still like maintain that I feel like George's has one of the best runway walks that we have seen on the show, if not the best. It's just the way that she's just so petite and tiny, and she just like floats across the stage. So like the way that she's able to just move her body and have so much control over it, I mean, I'll be threatened by her too. Like, I snip, 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 and snip, snip again. I'm not mad about it at all. So I think she did a good job. We then head into our pre Maxi Challenge announcement, where we get like a little bit of drama with Gottmik and the rest of the queens. We start to hear talks about cliques and who's paired up with who. We've already seen like rumblings of Vanjie and Vanjie and Gottmik being a thing, Nina and Chanel being a thing as the two older queens. So, lots of things are coming into play about like, okay, so who are we going to give the badge to? Because as we know, Gottmik and who was it? Gottmik and who was it that also won a badge? Oh my goodness.
Nina.
I'm blinking as well. Nina, thank you. Gottmik and Nina both won badges, and they got the decision over to who to give them to. And so a lot of that conversation happened, and Gottmik was, deliberating over who she was going to give her badge to, and something that played a role in her decision was the fact that there were a few queens that seemed to be rooting for Nina in the last lip sync and not her. So she's like, okay, well, if we're going to be doing all this, then maybe I'm not going to be giving you all of this. So yeah, it's getting a little dicey. It's getting a little strategic up in here. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, that was good. They were talking about alliances. It was giving Survivor. They were talking about cliques, alliances. And I thought it was funny that they were cheering for Nina last time. Like, I didn't take it that seriously. I honestly took it as like last time Nina took off 17 layers of clothing.
She did.
I feel like I felt like they were almost, not that they weren't like cheering on their sister, but that it was sort of like tongue in cheek, where it was like, okay, Nina, you know, just like the fourth reveal, like, okay,
take it off.
And you know, I don't know, because I don't think Nina's like the strongest, you know, in a lip sync or on the runway. So I feel like they were kind of like, okay. But I think Mick was being funny too. Like, it's like, was Gottmik really, you know, suspicious of that, or is it just like, it's just a fun shady reason to give?
The fun shady reason, and it's a nice cover to do what she's ultimately going to do. I mean, I liked what Nina was doing on during the lip sync last week, but it did sort of feel like, I mean, I like the fact that it was so much. I think that was kind of like the tongue-in-cheekness of the reveal, but like at the same time, like I don't think it landed the way that it was supposed to land. So like it made perfect sense that Gottmik won that lip sync. But yeah, like I agree with you. I think that Gottmik was trying to be a little funny here, and it, you know, I think it gave her ultimate leeway to do what she wanted to do, and because there was a lot of, you know, suspicion about her giving her badge to Vanjie, since they're good Judies this season, and lo and behold, she gives her badge to Vanjie. And Nina is ending up giving her badge to Roxy. So two queens that hadn't yet had a badge now have a badge, leaving Chanel to be the only one to not have a badge. Like, it sort of feels a little sacrilegious that the season 1 queen is the only one without a badge, but you know, maybe this is like the beginning of Chanel's comeback or redemption story. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Yeah,
we'll see. I like Chanel also. I can say, having watched season 1 recently, I really like her. I mean, first of all, her makeup's gorgeous. I think her personality's funny. Like, I just love when someone's really cocky and bitchy. I think it's funny. And not that she's so bitchy. I think she seems lovely, like a nice person. I was surprised Nina didn't give it to her, but I guess Miss Roxy's social game with the helping with the sewing came in clutch there.
Yeah, I mean, she helped everybody, every damn body.
Gosh, everybody.
And it was so funny because like I watched I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the Roscoe's viewing parties. There's a gay club in Roscoe's that in Chicago, rather, and they watch all the episodes. And Roxy did that, you know, while she was helping everybody, a bit of it was a bit selfish on her end, because there's this, I guess, this sewing machine called a serger, which I'd never heard of, but it's apparently very hard to operate. So the reason why she was like not letting anybody else sew their own damn clothes, because she's like, I don't want you to break it, and then I can't use it, so I'm just gonna do it. I'll handle your stuff, just give it to me, I'll make sure it gets done. But yeah, that seemed to work out. So
that's so funny. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. All the strategy with Roxy, like the social game, really did seem to pay off, because I was also surprised that Nina did not give it to Chanel, being that the two of them did seem to have sort of like this, you know, we're the old heads, we're the old queens, let's try to look out for one another. But I guess Roxy just, you know, sewing those garments just really helped. So not mad about it.
Yeah.
Not mad about it.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, there you go.
How would you play it? Would you be the same way? Would you focus more on social game if you were a Drag Race All-Star? Or would you sort of be more like, you know, I'm going to give it to the person that I think is like my least competition, and therefore that would be the last one that they get? Like, how do you feel like you'd play?
Right. Okay. I think it's short game versus long game. And when I say long game, I don't mean Drag Race All-Stars. I mean your career. Because I feel like what Gottmik did is the long game, where you give it to your friend. You give it to your friend because that's your girl. You're going to be, you know, working alongside her for the rest of your life. That's your friend. You give it to her. It's more fun to, you know, like be in the finale with her, your friend. And I think the short game is like, yeah, let me give it to the whatever strategic choice. But it's like, I don't know. It's so early in the game. I would just spread out the badges. I personally love that Gottmik gave her badge to Vanjie after the whole thing about the alliances. I thought it was so funny. Like, it was all like, everyone was like clutching their pearls, like, are there alliances? And then she's like, anyway,
like, no. Like, anyway, here you go, Vanjie.
It's so funny. I was like, good for her.
Yeah, you know, you better stick by your friend, girl. Stick by your friend.
Exactly.
So I'm just not realizing it's kind of ironic. I hosted for the first time the Drag Race podcast during a makeover episode back in season 16. And here I am once again hosting another Drag Race episode for the makeover episode and season 9 of All Stars. And yes, the Maxi Challenge this season is the queens pairing up and getting to make over these beautiful men that also happen to be firefighters. And so firefighters, one of the most sexiest professions that there are. You better run into that fire, baby. Run into that fire. So we've got four guys here: Adam, Andre, Bradley, and Nathan. And they end up pairing up. We have Nina and Roxy, Gottmik and Vanjie, Plastique and Georges, and then Nina and oh wait, I think I messed one of them. I'm sorry. Wait, sorry about that. We have Plastique and Georges.
You watched an alternate. You watched an alternate episode. I would love.
Sorry,
to
my
see...
notes are a little fumbled.
No, I'm kidding.
We've got Plastique and Georgie. We've got Nina and Gottmik, Chanel and Angeria, and then Roxy and Vanjie. Roxy and Vanjie end up being with Adam. Chanel and Angeria end up being with Bradley. Gottmik and Nina are with Nathan, and Plastique and Georges are with Andre. And in order to determine who was going to be with who, they sort of did like this speed dating thing where all the firemen got to chat with one of the pairs, and then the firemen, which I thought was a nice little twist because usually it's the queens, the firemen got to choose which pair they wanted to go with. One of them is a gay man. The other 3 are straight. Andre is the gay one, and then the other 3 are straight. And I'm always a big fan of like people stepping outside of their comfort zone and it being displayed on Drag Race, because I just feel like it's, I don't know, as a gay man myself who has had some troubles melding into, you know, a society with straight men, it's always reaffirming when I get reminded that there are straight men out there that are like, I don't care. Like, it is what it is. Like, you know, I'm sure you can dress me up in drag, like whatever. So I love episodes like this because it just makes me feel good. And I just feel like I think it's just a feel good episode in general whenever they do stuff like this.
Yeah, I really agree. I mean, and you can't choose a better profession than firefighters. Everyone loves a firefighter. And yeah, I think it is good for mainstream America or whoever is watching this to see like straight men get dolled up, get dressed up in drag and be comfortable dancing, and especially this kind of like macho profession of firefighters. So I really appreciate and respect that they came out. And yeah, shout out to, did not think that one particular variety of straight man would be represented, which was the EDM bro in Bradley. That was shocking to me. I was like, EDM, whoa.
Yeah, I was shocked too. He seemed just you know, like not of that world. But I think that's such a great point though that you bring up though, because I feel like all of them sort of had like a link to the LGBTQ community. You know, you have got Bradley, who said that he said that he doesn't have a lot of family, and so he found his chosen family through the EDM community, and a lot of the EDM community are of the LGBT. The Venn diagram is very, you know, convergent. And then as far as Nathan goes, he worked in a gay club even as a straight man, so that's like his link. And then you have Andre, who is a gay man but doesn't do drag. And then you had Adam, who's I think his daughter is trans, right?
Oh, his daughter is pan and is married to a trans man.
Excuse me. Married, there it was. Trans or pansexual and married to a trans man. So, you know, they have like the queer community sort of like has made their appearances in all of their lives, which I think is great, because, you know, it's just again another reminder of like, you know, you probably know somebody who is of a certain community that you might not know much about. And, you know, it's up to you sort of educate yourself and learn more about it and become more comfortable with it, because that's the only way that we all, you know, can progress as a society. So I really appreciated that. Who would you have chosen for your makeover? I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm my biases are already showing. But it would have been on Ray. Because he seemed so enthusiastic. Like he really, I mean, they all wanted to in some way, but just his enthusiasm, I found him so charismatic. But I might be being biased because I absolutely loved Angelique. So I'll get to that when we get to that. But they were all so sweet. They were all like, oh, I guess strategically, maybe it would have made sense to choose, the go-go dancer, because you're going to be doing some choreography.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I probably would have gone with Nathan, only because because
oh, for what reasons exactly?
I would have gone with Nathan because he's a good dancer and I want to win. No, but I just think that, I think he's just great. And I also think that, like if the name of the game, the name of the Maxi Challenge was to turn these firemen into pop stars, then I want to go with someone who can dance. So, all of the visual biases aside, I definitely probably would have gone for him. So yeah, the name of the game is to turn them on to pop stars. They're supposed to write their own verses to Pussy on Fire, another one of RuPaul's original songs, put together some choreo, as well as beat their mugs and sew and put together an ensemble for all 4 trios. So I thought this was a lot of fun. I am a big fan of pop stars. I'm a big fan of girl groups. So yeah, I thought this was a fun challenge. How'd you feel about it?
I liked it a lot too. I like the makeover challenge as a viewing experience. I think the judging is whack on them, but I really like seeing everyday people get painted for the first time, like get pushed out of their comfort zone. I love the challenge in general. For the entertainment value. I like when they have to write their own verses. I liked all the aspects of it. I thought it was cool that it was, a girl group of 3, so it was 2 queens teaming up to make over one person. So there was sort of a teamwork aspect and making your styles go together and making sure you all had outfits that went together. So I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
I thought it was so funny. You liked what? Sorry.
I like Pussy on Fire.
Yes. I thought it was kind of funny that Nathan, at least in my opinion, is a better dancer than both Gottmik and I was like, who's the queen here? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, they were. It was not the dancing group. That was not the dancing group.
Yeah, the fact that he was the one leading it, I was like, you better go off. Nathan confirmed for, what was her name? Anita Blaze confirmed for season 17.
Blaze. Great name.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, so I mean, we can kind of get into some of these looks and their performances in general. How about we start with, hold on, let me pull it up. Here we go. All right. Let us start with Nina, Gottmik, and Nina Gottmik and Anita Blaze. So how are we feeling about these looks, Gabby? How are we feeling?
They are okay. I think it's a cute concept. I like the sequins and the I don't know, what is that, 60s. The more I look at it, actually, I like them. I don't like Nina's shoulder thing. I don't think that's doing her like stature any favors, but Nick looks cute as always. I like that they brought the black hair into it. Yeah, it's fine.
See, the one thought that I kept having was that I feel like Gottmik should have remained in the middle. And I know that they're supposed to be showcasing their newly born sister, right? Like, so Anita Blaze is supposed to be the centerpiece of the performance. But I did just feel like, because she's so tiny and the other two are so big, it just looked a little disjointed to me. As far as the looks are concerned, mean, I mostly agree with you. They're fine. I, I'm not as upset about like the masculinity that Anita Blaze brought forward in the way that some of the judges appear to be, because I was like, you know, like, look, like, you know, I think that drag, yes, a bit of it is about female impersonation, yes, if you're a drag queen, that is, but there also is, like, again, this blurring of the lines and just trying to sort of like destroy what we think about gender and all of that. So I don't know, maybe it's just my visual biasy showing again, but I thought that
you're like, I want to see, like, I loved it. I loved the arms. I think there should have been more. I think Anita Blaze should have been wearing less clothing. Yeah, no, she looks great. I agree, though. She's muscular. She's toned. What are we gonna pretend like muscular women don't exist?
Don't exist,
like,
exactly.
Like,
yeah,
you know, they're out there.
Exactly. So I mean, look, I thought it was good. I definitely, I think that I think again, I think that Anita sort of performed the best out of the two of them, unfortunately, which I think is ultimately what probably like lost them the challenge, because it's supposed to be, you know, it's all about cohesion when you're in a girl group, right? Like everyone's supposed to be carrying their weight. And I think that the looks were, again, they're okay. You know, I sort of understand what it is they're going for. And I think that this was sort of like easy to sort of predict, because going into this challenge, we saw a lot of footage about like how Gottmik and Nina's styles and aesthetics are very, they clash. They clash a lot.
They sure
do. Like, yeah. They tried to meet in the middle, and I think that they came up with something serviceable, but still not the best in the long run. So I get it. I get it. It is what it is. All right. So up next, who do we have? Let's do Vanjie and Roxy with, and what is this queen's name again? I'll be forgetting their name.
Queen's name.
This queen's name. This queen is this. This is no, this is not Valerie. Valerie's what's
Valerie. Oh, maybe it is Valerie.
It is Valerie. Yes, it is Valerie. Valerie is Adam. Yes, Valerie. And they are the hoses. The hoses. Yeah. Oh, and the other team before, with Gottmik and Nina and Anita, were the hose draggers. Okay, which is yeah. So very similar names. Okay, so Roxy sort of made an allusion to the House of Darion, which was Miss Tina Knowles's fashion line when she was dressing Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle back in the early days of Destiny's Child. And you can clearly see the inspiration in these garments. I love it. I love it. I love it. Also, I'm a big Beyonce fan, so there's a lot of that bias coming through as well. But I thought that just in general, I thought that Roxy really tore it up on all of these looks. I thought that they're all similar enough, but distinct enough to show a little bit of personality and differentiation between all of the queens. So I thought that they did a damn good job as far as the looks are concerned, for sure.
Yeah, I think her sewing skill, like, it came in clutch here, because she could literally handcraft these outfits in like matching materials, different shapes to each of the girls' bodies. And I think that was really a strength here. I did not get the Knowles reference, so thank you, Aman. I'm learning so much. And I knew that they would do well when Roxy said something like, she's like, I know what they want in a girl group. They want to see the same little color in a different little shape, in a different, you know, then they're gonna feel like that goes together. Which clearly it did, because you know, they won. And I like them. I don't think I love them. But it's just my opinion. I'm not really I don't think I love the silhouettes, but I get girl group. I just don't love like the one arm and the cowl neck. It's not my style. But I do think it was very clever, and like she played the game the right way. And I think the material, the light pink, like pleathery material is really, really cute.
Yeah. So, I agree. I think I like the looks. I don't necessarily know if I believe they should have won. I think that the presentation of the looks, it was fine. I think their performance in Pussy on Fire was okay. I mean, it's like, again, it's kind of hard to critique the firemen because this is not what they do for a living. So like, they're trying it out, and a lot of them, this is probably like the first time that they've ever worn heels.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of hard to critique them, but at the same time, when you see another straight man that can dance and can walk on the hills, you're like, well, clearly this one's better than the other one. So it's like, so I don't know. I felt like Valerie did her best. The movement part of the challenge was not the best. So I was a little surprised that they won. I'm not gonna lie. But
I was
I guess
surprised.
if we're judging the queens and not necessarily the firemen, okay, fine, I guess, because both Roxy and Vanjie are great dancers and movers. And the looks, again, were great. So I guess, but I just feel like there was another group that would have edged them out. I'm curious to see if we agree on which one it should be.
Right.
So,
yeah. So I really think their look like won them this, as opposed to the performance, which for me, again, I'm like, well, I didn't love the look. So for me, it fell a little flat. But I do want to say, Valerie, Adam, what a sweet person. I loved that. I just loved that, he was sharing like how important the community is to him, and that he wanted to like go out there and do something really cool that his daughter would absolutely love. And like, I definitely felt, I don't know, emotional in a way of like seeing, I don't know. I know it's cliche, but like a father figure that is so accepting of like his, queer daughter and her trans husband. Like, it obviously, it seems like that should be a given, but of course it's not a given in for everyone. So like, it was honestly, I really connected with his story, and I for that reason, I'm happy they won, because he seems like such a great guy. And Valerie, she turned it out for what she could do. So
she did.
She tried her hardest, and that's. I would love to see what these queens could do on a poll. Actually, speaking of, they should have put the poll out there. I wonder if they could have done. They had like the side dancers on a poll, but what if the firemen had some moves? I don't know.
There's probably some footage. There's probably some behind the scenes footage. Yeah. Release the tapes. We want to see.
We want to see the poll footage.
Yes. No, but I agree. I think that he definitely was. I think that he was very much absorbing his time there. And again, just it's always very comforting to see stuff like that, because it just gives you hope that, like, it's not so hard to connect if you're just willing to be open and step out of your comfort zone. So props to Valerie, props to Adam. Both of them were great. All right, let's move on to, who should we do next? Let's go ahead and let's do Angeria and Chanel with Natasha Bradley. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I feel like Bradley could wear that to an EDM show. It's like holographic. Like, it's going to get him some street cred, I feel like.
Yeah, it's going to get him some street cred. I don't know about credit on the show. I don't know what's going on.
They look a mess.
They look great individually, but like together,
it does not go. It does not go. I think they said, "Oh, your shoes are the only thing that match."
Right.
There they are.
I guess that's the bag. The matching shoes.
Yeah, it's not. I guess Chanel and Angeria, you could stretch, their sequins, a little feather boa, but then, and the judges said it too, like, what's the new queen's name again?
Natasha Bradley.
Natasha. Oh, that's the best they could do for a drag name. Okay. Am I missing something? Am I missing a reference?
I don't know. I guess he just wanted to retain a bit of his own self. I don't know.
And you know what? His name on its own, sorry, it's not Bradley. It's
Bradley.
And that threw me off. That really threw me off. But shout out. Maybe that's like his drag name in his everyday.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because I had the closed captions on when I was watching. I was like, is that just like the closed captions making an error? But then you see his like name in the lower third. And I was like, oh, so it's actually Bradley. Okay.
It's Bradley. Okay. Yeah, they don't go, do they? That it doesn't go with the holographic. I was disappointed because I knew that Chanel would paint his face to the gods, and she did. Like, her face is gorgeous. Her face is gorgeous. Chanel's so good at makeup. And so I was like, oh, it's a makeover challenge. Like, she's gonna do amazing. But the outfits aren't there.
It really looks like all of them just decided, I'm going to wear what I want. Let's just make sure that we have like some kind of like matching color somewhere along the lines. And so Angeria wore pink, and then Chanel wore blue, and then they gave Natasha a iridescent thing to just reflect whatever the two of them were wearing. It's not really registering to me. I mean, they don't look horrible. It's just not cohesive enough. Like, if they were all walking down the runway separate times, I would think nothing of it. I would think they were never together to begin with. So
yeah, the hair doesn't, I don't know what era we're doing the hair. I'm not understanding. Actually, I like Angeria's hair. It looks pretty. But and then Chanel, I like her as a queen, but she does love her shoulder, her big shoulder, and I feel like that's what she gave to Natasha. And I feel like on a person that tall and with that, you know, firefighter build, like, it kind of eats her up. I feel like Natasha up top with like big hair, big shoulders. It's not, I feel, you know, they could have made her look more womanly if they you know, maybe helped balance out her proportions, because she's so tall and like built, you know, so strong, obviously, because of firefighting.
Yeah, no, honestly, I agree. I felt like it was, you know, not the worst, but just not, you know, it's not giving what I feel like it needs to give. And I agree. I think that there was like no, like, I can't, they do sort of feel like they're like from different eras, and that's not, I don't know. I mean, they did what they could. Yeah. I feel like it's interesting because both Angeria and Chanel are more on the pageant side of things. So I guess maybe like pop star fashion is not their like forte. They kind of just like grabbed whatever they could from their passion repertoire or their pageant repertoire, and sort of just like mashed it to see what they could make happen. And not the best result, not the worst result, but we move. It is what it is.
We move.
All right, let us move on to our last group, and that will be Plastique, Georges, and Angelique Vachon.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I love it. I wanted them to win. Why didn't they win? I'm a child of the 90s, okay? I'm a child of the 90s. Therefore, I grew up watching a lot, and I mean a lot, of Cartoon Network, okay? Therefore, I grew up watching a lot of one Miss Bubbles, one Miss Blossom, and one Miss Buttercup, okay? And so
that's right.
The Powerpuff Girls motif was not lost on me. I thought it was great. I thought it was perfect. I thought that they chose their outfits accordingly. I thought that everything just sort of like matched up. I also love the fact that Angelique was just so ready to just go in. She got her eyebrows shaved, even when even when her sisters didn't shave their damn eyebrows. That was the most confusing part to me. I was like, you got this gel and shit on your eyebrows to make them disappear. So why are you making him shave his? But the fact that he did, I was like, okay.
Yes.
So I thought that the choreo was fine. It was good. It was good. I thought that Angelique kept up with them. both Plastique and Georges. I always forget this about Plastique because I'm just so used to her being a fashion queen. I forget that she knows how to dance as well. The two of them, you know, they were doing the damn thing. Angelique kept up. The looks were great. The interaction with the judge was great when Angelique made that callback to Monica Beverly Hills as a No Soul Can Clock. Like, I just thought that I thought they had the whole package. The fact that they didn't win, I was like, what's going on here? What's going on here? Tell me you agree.
Same, 100% co-sign on everything you said. Oh my gosh, I was shocked. They are my winners. No shade to the winners, they all did great, but they really turned it out. I'm obsessed with Angelique. She like, I'm sorry, but not a soul can clock. Not a soul can clock. She looks gorgeous. She's fishing it up on the runway.
Yes.
She's dancing. She's getting down. I loved it. I loved her attitude. I watched it again because I was like, their choreo was good. And I would say it was on the harder side of like, you know, they were getting down. And Angelique was a star. And this is where when I said I love the makeover challenge, but I hate that every time the judging, I don't understand how they judge. And I'm not coming up with this for the first time. I've seen people on Twitter talking about this. Every time they're changing their criteria. One season, they don't want you to be a twin. The next season, Plain Jane and her exact twin won. And then speaking of that season with Plain Jane, they're like, I feel like they put so much stock into how she transformed her person, Lazy Susan, and they were like, you transformed her. She came out of her shell. She was I'm sorry. Henri to Angelique, that transformation, like, she is going to do drag again.
Yeah, let's just bring that travesty back up again, because what the fuck? Okay, like
what? I love that you had it ready. Like, so how come some years they say you're not supposed to be exactly twins for family resemblance, and then this year they're twins, but they're like, but you transformed her, and then this time, by the way, Georges's and Plastique, I don't know who ended up painting on Ray's face, but she was gorgeous, and all three of the girls had amazing makeup.
Yeah.
Was it Plastique? I mean, their makeup was stunning that night. And the Powerpuff thing, I loved their outfits. We got it, Aman. We got it. Kids of the 90s. These are our cohort, you know, whatever, Georges and Plastique, they get it. They're Powerpuff. I'm sorry, just because RuPaul and Michelle Visage don't know what the Powerpuff girls are.
Just because y'all was watching the Flintstones. No shades to the Flintstones, because I grew up watching that stuff too. But like, come on. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, no, she said, I don't see any way that they go together. I'm sorry, even if you don't really know the color combo of the Powerpuff Girls, what do you mean they don't go together? They go together.
And I'm so glad that the who was the guest judge again? We didn't even talk about the Osborne, the brothers Osborne. They got it. Even they got it.
The straight Osborne brother got it.
Yes, the straight one. The straight one. And by the way, I felt like the straight one, like, that feels so weird to say the straight one, but the straight one, I feel like he talked a lot during the panel, and I feel like the gay one, did not talk a lot during the panel, and I feel like the gay one talked a lot more during Untucked, which I found kind of interesting. I don't know, maybe he was just like shyer and just didn't have as much to say than his straight counterpart. Maybe that was like more of the theme of the episode, was like, you know, straight men entering the world of drag. So I'm not mad about it, but I just thought it was interesting, you know.
Let the straight men talk. Let them talk. Let the straight white men talk more on Drag Race.
This white man talk. They haven't had enough time. Okay, let them talk.
God, give him a chance.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, if the brother Osborne could get the Powerpuff girls, and even if you don't get the reference, look, they got the boots with the fur, they've got the fur, you know, jacket, they've got the straps and the harnesses, the black with the bright color, like, it's coordinated, and the font, you know, with the name, it's like, it's really cute. First of all, it's so cute. like as looks anyway. And then it's giving girl group. I actually have no idea how they didn't win. I can't get over Angelique. Like, I think this might be my favorite makeover ever. And robbed goddess, but I hope she goes does a show sometime, because she's got talent.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that they really just hit it out of the park, and I agree with you on the font, because I feel like some of the other teams also had like the names on the costumes. I think it was one other team that did that, and I feel like this team in particular executed it very well. Just so distinct and like recognizable, and just a good time. So I'm disappointed, but you know, sometimes that's just the way the cookie be crumbling with this show. But ultimately, Vanjie and Roxy are the ones that end up winning, and they are the top 2 all-stars of the week. Therefore, they get to lip sync. And I'm also interested to see who you thought won this lip sync, because I felt like the judges got it wrong twice in a row. I felt like Vanjie won that lip sync. This is a Janet Jackson song. If anybody knows anything about Janet Jackson, the choreography is sharp, cutting edge, like very angular, just like stiff, staccato, if it were.
Staccato.
And I feel like Roxy was too legato, all the way down to her.
Legato.
Yes, all the way down to her to the fabric that she chose for her outfit. So yeah, I was kind of surprised when they said that it was a tie. I mean, obviously, I don't think that like Vanjie blew her out of the water, but I think that she definitely beat her in this Janet Jackson lip sync. What say you?
That is a great point. I honestly did not think about it that deep, because I don't think I was paying that much attention, TBH. I did note that I did not like Roxy's choice in outfit. It wasn't right. That's use that for a ballad or something, but not.
Yeah.
It was a great point about Janet, though. I think you're right. I mean, I will say, to be fair, like I mean, obviously I look wherever the camera shows us, but I did find that Roxy had good stage presence, which like I do try to give credit when queens can like not move that much and still get you to look at them.
Yeah.
But I honestly got swayed by what you just said about in terms of the song and it being Janet. I think you're not wrong by saying, you know, kind of that more energetic small movements fits it better. So yeah, I didn't have a strong winner either way, but I can definitely see your point.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the two of them were also the ones that got the badges at the beginning of the episode, and then they win more badges. So I'm like,
I know. That was funny to me. Yeah, I know. I was like, poor Chanel, she doesn't have one still, and
it's some rigor mortis, as Alyssa Edwards would say, coming into play right now. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's just to raise the stakes a little bit. I don't know. But, you know, RuPaul is going to RuPaul. Drag Race is going to Drag Race. It is what it is. You know, I can't be too mad, because at the top of the season, I was like, I'm such a big fan of Vanjie. I want to see Vanjie win. She's probably not going to win, but like, if she has 2 badges right now and that brings her closer to the crown, then whatever. Okay, I will gladly accept the rigor mortis in Vanjie's favor.
Yeah. No, Vanjie's great. I couldn't believe. I mean, I could believe it, but I forgot that she said she never won a challenge before. I was like, oh, because she, you know, she's just such a standout and she's so charismatic that it's like, yeah, maybe she's never won a challenge. Just give her the thing, give her the win, give her the badge. We want to see her go further. I'd love to see her in the finale. She's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. I'm excited. So I mean, okay, that is the episode. Is there anything else that you want to bring up, Gabby?
No, I think that I'm so glad that we made it through the episode and I didn't say anything that embarrassed myself. I haven't talked about Drag Race. I haven't talked about Drag Race on a podcast like since I've, you know, been just more into Drag Race, more into drag, and like like openly a part of the queer community. So it's been really fun for me to participate in this. So thank you so much. And also I wanted to say, earlier when I was naming my favorite drag queens, I can't believe, and you said Saphira earlier, and I forgot. I do love Nymphia. I love Nymphia Wind.
I love Nymphia too, yeah.
And I didn't think, I thought that Saphira was going to win, by the way, but I had to go back to it because when you said Saphira, I was like, oh, we didn't even talk about this, because I had not rooted for a queen like Nymphia in some time. Like she just, her drag spoke to me. Again, it's the oddballs and it's the concept and it's the fashion and all of that. But since I didn't get to talk about it last season publicly or anything like that, I just wanted to publicly say I love Nymphia Wind, but we're not talking about that season.
No, I agree with you. I feel like I like, for me, I think the way that I sum it up the easiest is that I feel like Saphira, what was I gonna say? I feel like Saphira should have won, but I am glad that Nymphia did win, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it just makes sense to me.
I completely understand. And I think based on the based on that season, I was shocked Saphira didn't win. I was in Chicago for the finale. Speaking of Roscoe's, I couldn't go to Roscoe's because I was there for conference, which was really annoying because I couldn't watch Drag Race. I didn't watch it live. I met up with friends afterwards and I said like, oh, well, you can just, I just assume Saphira won. Like you don't have to worry about not spoiling it. And they were like, actually, you should watch it. And I was like, what?
Well,
I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get spoiled because it's so obvious. So anyway, I just wanted to shout that out because I forgot to say that earlier. But
shout out to Nymphia Wind. Shout out to
my Asian queen.
Shout out to the Asian queen. Yes, baby. First East Asian queen to win. Shout out, baby. Shout out.
That was fantastic. So
sad that I couldn't see you yesterday, but
you heard her. You heard her from afar.
I heard you from afar.
Did she sing?
She did. She sang. I'm sure she danced because I just heard I would hear nothing and I would just hear cheers. I'm like, oh, she must be killing it right now, like dancing.
Yeah. She's dropping it low. Yeah. Sorry, Monet, that I didn't see your show. Obviously, I know Monet Exchange is listening to this. Sorry, Monet. Sorry, it rained in Buffalo.
She's a fan of Survivor, which means she's probably a fan of RHAP in some level. Okay, so she might. You never know.
That's right. Okay, if anyone knows Monet and can tell her that this Survivor fan loves her back and thinks she should be on Survivor, if not the Traitors.
She has probably seen your season because she said during the pandemic that she binge watched a bunch of seasons.
Oh,
so she's
I know.
Probably seen you. She's probably seen you.
The scariest thing was when Shea Coulee tweeted that she was starting to watch Survivor and she was watching my season. She said, I hate how mean these people are, like how these people are backstabbing and stuff. And I replied to her tweet and I was like, I quote tweeted her or something, and I was like, no, not Shea Coulee. Shea Coulee is gonna be so mad at me. But she liked my tweet, so that's my little claim to fame. Love you, Shea. I'm just shouting out.
None of those bitches have any room to talk about people being mean and back. You are on Drag Race, okay? Come on now. Like, y'all are the inventors of backstabbing me. Come on now.
We need drag queens on Survivor though. Get them on there, please, and get them back. Get them on the Traitors. I heard rumors they were going to be on the Traitors this year, and I'm hearing they're not on it. So get them back on the Traitors.
Yeah, that was weird. But nothing would please me more than to see some busted drag queen on Survivor, literally trying to get in drag every day with nothing,
Charcoal.
just a wig, and just I need
they're
to see
contouring with they're contouring with mud.
Hold on, Jeff, 1 second. I need to see that. I just need that in my life. That'd be so amazing.
They can run a quick 5-day version of Survivor. It's real Survivor is only 20 days longer than that now. So
I'm so here
run a quick
for it.
5-day drag queen Survivor.
Drag Viver, okay?
There we go.
I want to see it. Jeff Probst in drag. I want to see it too. I make it happen, baby.
We want to see it. Oh my god.
Thank you so much, Gabby, for joining me here today while my co-hosts were out. It was absolutely wonderful talking to you about Drag Race. Can you tell our listeners and viewers what you've got going on?
Yeah, not much. I'm just little old me. I'm on Twitter sometimes at Gabby Pascuzzi.
All right. All right. You can also follow me at Aman Adwin on Twitter and everywhere else. I am also just chilling with Drag Race for now. You know, Survivor just ended. Big Brother 26 is well on its way. We did get a premiere date. I believe it was July 17th, something like that. So we'll be kicking up and getting back in gear for that very, very soon. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We hope that this podcast meets you well. And once again, happy Pride to everyone. I'm so excited. I had a great time at Philly Pride. I hope that Gabby had a great time at Buffalo Pride. Well, from what you know, there was able to enjoy.
I had Mexican food.
She had some Mexican food. Any other prides that are happening out throughout this month, I am so excited for everybody. Have a safe and happy Pride Month, everybody. And we will see you next time.